version 9.21 came out this morning for Fortnite, and we're going to go over all the different changes that happened within the game. So let's jump right into it, because this update is quite big and there's a lot of changes to go over. But the first one you guys see on screen right now, the brand new Proximity Grenade Launcher. Yes, and it wrecks that quickly. So let's just jump right into the stats real quick. Basically, the Proximity Grenade Launcher fires an arcing, bouncing, explosive projectile that explodes when in proximity of an opponent. So it is available in epic and legendary rarities, and it is found in chests, loot carriers, supply drops, and vending machines. It's semi-automatic, but it only does hold about 2 rounds with the reload speed of 2.8/3 seconds depending on rarity. So it does hold rocket ammo, and then the damage it does is basically for player proximity radius 250 units, which Epic describes as about half the width of a tile, whereas the explosion radius is about 300 units, about 60% of the width of a tile. Now, what's very interesting about this is the fact that the projectiles explode automatically after 10 seconds, or if it has already nearly come to a stop in terms of the actual grenade. So, very interesting. I've seen a lot of players in arena mode not be a huge fan of it already. I mean, the gun was just released about 5 hours ago, and it's already causing a lot of controversy within the actual arena mode. But we're going to talk a little bit more about arena mode here later on in the video. Moving on though, we have a brand new LTM coming on June 13th, which I'm very, very excited for. It's called Horde Rush, and Epic Games described it as Fortnite Fiends are back on the island and angrier than ever. Fight alongside your teammates to rack up your score by finding hidden score multipliers, opening special loot chests, and eliminating as many monsters as you can. Traverse across the map, survive all of the defend locations, and take down the final boss to win. So, a little bit more about the actual mode. 4-player squad mode divided up into multiple stages, with each stage being a different area to defend. Now, as the defend points go on, different weapons, better loot, better materials, etc., continue to spawn. So it does say to travel across the map to the next defense point, and then respawning is enabled all up until the very last stage, when players have to destroy the final boss, Fiend, and his horde of minions. So, it also says keep an eye out for special loot chests which contain powerful weapons and provide a scoring bonus. So again guys, I kind of see this as a possible node to save the world. Obviously with the come up of Fortnite Battle Royale, Save the World hasn't seen too much love in terms of media, in terms of popularity and whatnot. I still like playing Save the World, but either way, this is a great way to kind of transition players to Save the World, because it's very similar in terms of squads versus zombies. So we'll see how that goes once it comes out on June 13th. Now, moving on. Now, one of the last couple things that people have been complaining about are shotguns and shields, both not spawning enough and both not having a big enough factor in actual solo, duo, and squad games. So, with that being said, they went ahead and increased the small shields, the minis. They increased the availability from chest loot from 11.3% to 12.09%. And then they went ahead and increased the small shield potions, the minis, increased the availability from chest loot from 16.95% to 18.13%. Now, they did give a little bit of backing with that. They said, quote, with items being added and removed, we've noticed that shield potions and small shields have been less available in chests, so we've increased the chance to find shields from chests to compensate for that. The other big major factor that people were complaining about prior to this update were shotguns. So they increased the overall chance to find from floor loot from 8.5% to 9.77%. So Epic did say, quote, after seeing the community's feedback about shotgun availability, we've increased the shotgun availability from floor loot to make finding them in the early phase of the game easier. So that way, if you're landing in Pleasant Park, if you're landing in Neo Tilted, any other hot drop zone, there's a bigger chance that you actually land on a shotgun and actually can do work. So, moving on. Infantry rifle, epic, and legendary variants. So they increase the availability from floor loot from 0.06% to 1 0.05%, and they increase the availability from chest loot from 0.4% to 0.64%. So we should see an increase in infantry rifles spawning, which I'm actually kind of warming up to. I wasn't a huge fan of the gun, I will be honest, but I am warming up to it big time. So heavy assault rifle combat variant. So they decrease the availability from floor loot from 2.04% to 1.7%, and they decrease the availability of the heavy assault rifle from chest loot from 12.4% to 10.4%. So 2% decrease in that basically. So we should see a lot less of these heavy assault rifles, which are commonly and they're so oftenly found on the ground and in buildings and whatnot. I'm sick of them, you're sick of them probably, so I'm very glad that they are taking action on that. Now moving on, the mounted turrets, these also too talk about spamming inventory. They decrease the availability of mounted turrets from floor loot from 0.59% to 0.46%. So again, not too major, but again, we should see that decrease actually go into effect, and actually take mental note of that next time we are picking up equipment out of floor loot, out of chest, whatever it may be. So moving on to a very controversial item that was added in last week's update, the Storm Flip. So we all know the Storm Flip to be that very controversial item that was removed from arenas prior to this last week's solo qualifier events for the World Cup coming up in July. But with that being said, they went ahead and they've added the Storm Flip back into the arena and tournament playlist. So they do have a visual effect coming next week in the version 9.3 update that will help improve the readability, but that's going to be coming next week. Now, let's actually talk about the Storm Flip, because they did actually change a little bit about this. So they adjusted the Storm Flip to cause flat damage instead of being based on which storm phase it currently is active. So prior to this update, basically what it was it would do the same damage as what the storm was currently doing, meaning toward the end game, if the storm was doing 10 damage per tick, the Storm Flip would also do 10 damage per tick. So what they went ahead and did is they just flatlined it, so now no matter beginning game, late game, no matter what, it will do 5 damage every second. So it's kind of like a bigger stink bomb in a way, if you want to look at it like that. So they also went ahead and they said that this change may not be immediately available at the time of the release. It requires a server update, so if you guys haven't seen that yet today, just wait, maybe tomorrow it will come to the game and it'll be implemented. But they did also say too, we noticed with scaling damage that players held onto their Storm Flip later into matches, creating undesirable effects. This change gives players more value in using it earlier in matches, and they also went ahead and they reduced the availability from chest from 3.39% to 1.69%. They reduced the availability from floor loot from 3.3% to 1.6%. And then they added it back into arenas and tournaments, like I said. So again, I think that this item is very overpowered in endgames for Fortnite arena mode. So imagine that. Imagine if everyone's qualifying for the World Cup. Imagine if people have thousands of points in arena mode and people are flinging these Storm Flips every left and right. I think it would be crazy. I think that will not be worked out in arena mode, so we will have to see how that works. Now, that being said, the new grenade launcher is also going to have quite the effect on arena mode, knowing that it does 70 damage base to players as well as a good amount of structural damage to the builds and whatnot. Late game, far game, whatever it may be, in arena mode, that is very controversial. I mean, this is a proximity grenade launcher, meaning that if you just shoot it in the direction, not even actually hit the player, but as long as you hit around the player, it will explode, it will do the 70 damage. So we will have to see how both that as well as the Storm Flip bottle works in arena mode. So I'll be very curious, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this brand new grenade launcher, what you think of the new Storm Flip options, as well as if you do play arena mode, let me know what you guys think about those two being added to arena mode as well. I'll see you guys later. Top box is that previous video like always, which is this morning's Fortnite location number 19, very simple to find. Bottom box is that mystery video like always. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Have a great day.